What's going on, YouTube? This is just going to be my raw reaction. No intro, no nothing like that. But Dak Prescott has signed 4-year extension, I'm pretty sure. 4 years, 160 million, up to 164 million total, and no trade clause, no tag. They're gonna tag him just for the procedure kind of thing. This I think they're tagging him tomorrow or today, just so they're unable to tag him in the future. And 126 million guaranteed for this 4-year deal. So Dak finally got paid, man. It took forever for this dude to get paid. Now I'm a Giants fan, but I'm someone who's always been a supporter of Dak Prescott. I've always thought that he was criminally underrated. I mean, he never gets the credit that he deserves. He's had a good team around him, sure, but you have to be the guy that executes. Now, I'm not saying that he's up in that tier with Russell Wilson. He's getting paid like it now. But Russell Wilson, as a young quarterback, never got the credit he deserved because he had a good team around him. But you still have to be a good player to be able to play good even on a good team. So Dak is finally going to get paid. We don't have to hear about Skip Bayless and Shannon Sharp recapping the entire 3-4 year scenario over and over again on TV. I mean, Undisputed, they would come out with the same rhetoric, the same story every single time. It was like listening to the same exact debate. But I think he's worth every single penny. Do I think that the Cowboys are going to win Super Bowls? I mean, I'm a Giants fan. I just don't see that happening. I don't believe it. And I just am not able to believe it. But I think that Dak gives them the best chance going forward. I definitely believe that. He gives them the best chance to win, unless they plan to pull off like a trade with Russell Wilson, or a trade for Deshaun Watson. Other than that, you're not going to get much better. They're sitting at 10. I'm not thinking that Trey Lance is going to be there. I'm not thinking that Mac Jones, Trevor Lawrence definitely isn't going to be there. There's some talks that Justin Fields could fall, but again, you're taking another risk. You might as well stay with the guy that you have that was on pace to throw for over 6,000 yards. And I'm not saying he would have thrown for that 6,000, but one thing about it is he really was on pace for it. So he probably would have thrown about 5,500. He was definitely in contention to be someone that was going to break the passing record. He definitely would have won that division last year. And he's what you have right now. You really have to be grateful for what you have, because they could very well dump Dak, get him onto, trade him away, or do whatever they have to do to get him to another team, and then be looking for their next quarterback for the next 15 to 20 years. Say what you want to say about Dak. He might not be Mahomes. He might not be, the top 2-3 quarterbacks in the league. But if you have, I believe if you have a top 7, 8, even 10 quarterback in the league, when his contract comes up, you have to pay him. And the thing is, this contract got out of hand. He's getting paid $40 million. He's getting paid that $40 million a year on average, and 76 guaranteed in his first 2 years, because you didn't want to pay him 2 years ago. 2 years ago, you could have given Dak the $35 million. You could have given him $35, $36 million a year. That would have been wrapped up. They didn't want to pay him more than Carson Wentz. They didn't want to pay him like Jared Goff. And guess what? Now you got to pay him 40. And if they would have franchised him this year, they would have had to pay him probably, 150 million guaranteed instead of 126 guaranteed. So Jerry Jones finally bit the bullet and paid him. I think it's a good move for the Cowboys. Now, when you look at their cap space, they have about 18 or 25 million in cap space for their, top 51 according to Spot Rack. And you got guys like their pass rusher. Why can't I remember the dude's name? I don't know how. But you got their pass rusher. We all know who he is. You got Jalen Smith there. You got a couple of defensive guys up there that they might have to look at cutting. They're not going to bring back their corner. That's a free agent. They're pretty much not going to be able to bring back most of their free agents. And that's just a sacrifice you have to make. It's all about if Dak can step up to be that franchise quarterback. That's really what it's about, because they're going to have to shed some guys. They're going to have to not bring back some guys, and they're not going to really bring in much help. You got to think that Michael Gallup is probably on a trade block, because I'm not sure how much he's getting paid, but they're not going to be able to pay him coming up to this next year unless the salary cap, I mean, really goes up 40, 50 million, which is very possible. But I don't think they're going to pay him either way. You have the first round pick there in CeeDee Lamb. You have Amari Cooper, and it's really tough to fit all of that under the cap and justify paying three receivers big time money, because that's pretty much what you're doing, because CeeDee Lamb was a first round pick. But I have faith in it. I mean, I think that Dak is their best shot going forward as their franchise quarterback. And right now, he's the best quarterback in the NFC East, which isn't saying much. I mean, as a Giants fan, I'm hoping Daniel Jones finally steps out this year when we get him some weapons and some talent around him. But from what we've seen proven, he's the best quarterback in the East. And why would you get rid of that? Why would you get rid of your best quarterback in this division and risk trying to find one while these other teams are able to scramble and do it before you? But a lot of people were saying he's overpaid. Sure, that's fine. But as we've seen over this time in the NFL, it's not about who's overpaid. It's not about how much someone is literally worth. And that's what we see in this country. That's what we see in the world pretty much. It's not about how much someone's worth. It's about how much someone else is willing to pay them. And it's about what the market is. If you're an engineer and nobody needs engineers and they're only willing to pay you $20,000, I mean, that's what you're going to have to take. But since engineers are in high demand, they get paid they get paid a lot more. But that's just a little bit of a comparison. But Dak Prescott, I think, deserves this contract, because in about a year and a half, we're going to be looking at this deal as probably the 6th or 7th highest contract. Because who you got coming up? You got Lamar Jackson. You got Josh Allen. Baker Mayfield possibly, depending on what he does this year. And then, I mean, there's other guys that are just going to be in a cluster. I'm not sure about expiring contracts coming up. Maybe Russell Wilson is coming up. I'm not sure. And then you have your younger guys, Daniel Jones, Kyler Murray in the next couple of years. Depending on what they do in these next couple of years, that also has a huge effect on what these quarterbacks are going to get paid. But you get a franchise quarterback, you got to pay him franchise quarterback money. There's no way around it. And the Cowboys dodged the bullet, because next year they were going to have to pay him the $45 million. We're going to have to just pay him $45 or at least $43 million. So you guys let me know what you think of this contract. I know a lot of Giants fans are rejoicing, because now it's all up to Dak to pull this team up around him, because they're not going to be able to go out and attack in free agency, because he's been working on a fourth round contract. Not even making $1 million most years, making way more in his sponsorships than on the actual field. But again, you guys let me know what you think of this deal. I think it's just what they had to do.